Hi, I'm Scotty. Welcome to my channel, Scotties Clock World. Thanks for dropping by. This is the hammer wire that we're going to look at. It's a spring wire. You can see it's very light gauge. It's actually 0.25 of a mil. It's the wrong size. It wouldn't be factory. Someone else has changed that, and I'll explain why. If you have a look, not easy to see, but the spring starts off wound around the hammer there to secure it, and then there's 6 coils wound round the arbor there, and then the spring continued around there, and then there was another 4 coils round there. Now the reason there was so many coils on there was because this wire is not strong enough to do its job. It's probably all the guy had in stock, so he used it and put extra coils on it. The size wire we use for springs is 28 gauge, which is that there. 28 gauge brass wire. It's 0.32 mil in diameter, measured with a micrometer or with a vernier, and we never use more than 4 or a maximum 5 coils on an arbor because it makes it too strong and works against the principle of the hammer or whatever tool you're trying to provide a little bit of positive pressure for. So we'll take off this old spring initially. It's pretty ratty, it's falling to pieces anyway. So off it comes. Then the last little bit, put those in the bin. Okay. So I'll cut a piece of our 28 gauge wire. We'll see how much we need once we get to the end of it, but at the moment we'll cut off more than we need. Not excessively, but we'll cut off a bit more than we need. We'll cut it there. And we'll start winding the wire four times around the arbor there. I'll flick the end up and we'll cut that off with a pair of cutters, like so. And then push the end down so that it's nice and flat and doesn't catch on anything. Right, so we slide the wire up underneath the arbor. Now we want 1, keeping them tight, 2, 3, 4 coils, you can see there, and then we'll drop the last little piece of the wire down under that lever there and bend it round. And make sure that that's sufficient, because that piece there has to be hung on the side of one of the plates. I think 4 should be sufficient. Alright, so I'll undo that now. It's got a bend in it, and we'll put the hammer into the movement. You'll see people online with a drill or a nail or something like so, and holding a piece of wire there, turning the drill on and whizzing up, getting a lovely little nice neat tube of wire. The only problem is you can't use that in a clock because it always has to be wound round an arbor, and there's wheels and pivots and posts and stuff coming out, and you can't just slide it on. So they've all got to be done in situ. Right, now we'll just check to make sure that we've got sufficient wire there. It looks a little bit short to me, but I'll check it and see. And if it's too short, well, we'll do it again, and that's easy enough done. Okay, back to our movement, which is there. Now drop our hammer in, keeping the spring out of the road till those levers go down. That's got him. And now that spring, yep, I thought so. At the end of the new spring we've just made goes into that tiny little hole in there. So I'll pull that back, put a little bit more of a bend on it, drop it in through that hole, and using a pair of pliers, catch the end of it, pull it through and tighten it. It then gets bent over onto the side of the plate. There it is. Now we should have sufficient positive pressure to return the hammer. That's coming out. It needs a little bit more in there. So push that in, pull that through a tiny bit. It may not be quite enough. I might have to read it. Oh no, that's all right. It's got a length on it. All right. See what we got. Well, that's lovely positive pressure. You'll see. Actually, that's coming out. I'll redo that, and I'll have a slightly longer tail on that because it's going to eventually jump out. It's a little bit too short to tighten it down. Thank you to my supporters: Don Dressel, David Phillips, Graham FP, Robert Hornman, Mike Messerschmidt, Stephen Watts, Sidus, Rolf, Tony Paisley, Jeff Clements, Whitney Kovner, Walt Morgan, Dennis O'Connor, Robert Baldwin, Douglas Mueller, John, Martin Olivia, Douglas Rollinson, Bill Leeds, Getsup, Brooks Rowand, Jim Scarladorn, Rodney Van Meter and Elizabeth Smith.